All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a completely mind-bending journey, going all the way from the deepest secrets of the universe, right down to the daily choices that actually define our happiness. We're pulling from some truly profound sources for this one, specifically looking at the frontiers of theoretical physics with Dr. Michio Kaku, and then bridging all of that cosmic scale with grounded, practical research on what makes a human life truly worth living.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with some flashcards of the universe, look at predictions for the year 2100, explore the illusion of reality, talk about avoiding life's biggest regrets, and finally, creating your own meaning.
So, Section 1, Flashcards of the Universe, exploring the cosmic macro scale.
You know, Dr. Kaku's life mission has essentially been to complete Einstein's ultimate dream, finding a master equation that can explain, well, everything. Like reading the mind of God with an equation just 1 inch long. To understand how that's even possible, we have to look at string theory. At the absolute base layer of reality, things like protons and electrons aren't just solid little dots. They're actually tiny, vibrating strings. And depending entirely on how a specific string vibrates, we see a different particle. And what's super cool is that this actually gives us an incredibly elegant answer to some of space's greatest mysteries, like dark matter, that invisible mass that's literally holding the Milky Way together. Kaku suggests that dark matter might just be a higher unseen vibration of those exact same cosmic strings. Think of it like a higher octave on a piano that our instruments just simply can't hear yet.
Now, if you take this string space view of reality and zoom out, way out, it changes the origin of everything. Rather than just a single Big Bang, string theory actually allows for an infinite cosmic bubble bath. Our expanding universe is just one tiny bubble, coexisting and floating alongside potentially millions of other parallel universes.
So in a bubble bath that unfathomably large with trillions of galaxies and billions of stars in our universe alone, extraterrestrial life isn't just possible, it's highly, highly probable. But if they're actually visiting us, maybe as those unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, we keep hearing about on the news, we really have to ask, what form do they actually take?
If you look at the extreme maneuvers of observed UAPs, they logically point toward advanced robotic probes, definitely not fragile biological creatures. I mean, think about it. Any biological entity would be instantly turned to soup by the extreme G-forces of a 70,000-foot vertical drop. So, if alien intelligence is exploring our skies, they're almost certainly mechanical.
Moving on to Section 2, Predictions for the year 2100, Humanity's Technological Knife's Edge.
We are absolutely walking a knife's edge right now as a species. Technology is either going to create a future of absolute abundance or completely destroy us. Just look at the perilous path ahead. We've got the imminent threat of quantum computers breaking bank codes by 2029, AI rapidly advancing mid-century, humans potentially merging with machines late century, and finally, the distant but real promise of biological immortality by mastering the biological clock in our cells, known as telomeres.
To really grasp how close we are to some of these tipping points, just look at the massive leap we're making right now in computing. We're moving from computing on binary transistors, which only read 0 or 1, to computing on atoms themselves. Quantum computers can process an infinite number of states between 0 and 1. This sheer, unbelievable power could eventually crack literally every digital code we rely on, threatening global banking, Bitcoin, the whole shebang.
And then, of course, there's artificial intelligence. Right now, AI robots basically have the intelligence of a bug. It's primitive. But as they progress to the cognitive level of a mouse, then a cat, and eventually a monkey, they're going to become self-aware and potentially very dangerous. Kaku explicitly warns that once AI reaches that monkey level of intelligence, we must integrate with our own creations. We have to become superhuman ourselves, rather than try to compete with them just to avoid a disastrous civil war with machines.
All right, Section 3, the illusion of reality. Why our senses lie to us.
It turns out, we only perceive a tiny, teeny fraction of actual reality. The room you are sitting in right now is absolutely full of cosmic rays, ultraviolet light, and infrared radiation, but we're completely blind to all of it. Why? Simply because seeing cosmic rays didn't help our ancient ancestors survive in the forest. Our perceived reality is, as Kaku calls it, a partial fiction.
So, our entire reality is essentially a survival-based illusion. Evolution only cares about keeping you alive. It doesn't care at all about showing you the absolute, objective truth of the universe. If you hear a rustle in the bushes, your brain instantly projects a deadly tiger. 9 times out of 10, it's just the wind. There is no tiger. But that one time it actually is, that overactive imagination is exactly what saves your life.
So, zooming all the way in on the individual experience, here's Section 4, Avoiding Life's Biggest Regrets.
Despite all these massive, mind-blowing technological marvels we've just discussed, we have to look at what actually makes life worth living right down here on Earth. This quote perfectly anchors the undeniable truth that human connection remains the absolute foundation of a good life. In an immeasurably large universe, other people are quite literally the only things that make us feel less alone.
80. That is the number of years the legendary Harvard Business Review study tracked real people, ultimately proving that close relationships, not money, not fame, not career success, dictate our long-term happiness. Starting way back in 1938, they proved definitively that you absolutely cannot postpone time with family and friends. It's just too important.
And you know, when faced with the end of their brief cosmic time, people share remarkably similar regrets. We're talking about playing it safe in a soulless job, staying locked inside your childhood hometown forever, or just completely neglecting the physical maintenance of our bodies. Comfort almost always wins in the short term, right? But long term, that comfort leads directly to the ultimate regret of a life unlived.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Creating Your Own Meaning, the Human Time Machine.
Unlike animals that are completely driven by their next meal and immediate survival, our brains are literal time machines. Our frontal cortex gives us this unique ability to constantly simulate the future, which allows us to make complex moral decisions and actually shape our own destiny. We obsess over tomorrow, next year, and what our legacy will eventually be.
Dr. Kaku actually saw this firsthand during his time in the US Army during the Vietnam War. Witnessing the absolute extremes of both human goodness and profound evil taught him that we must actively choose what is right. We aren't just passive observers. We have the capacity for incredible destruction, sure, but we also have the capacity for unbelievable moral courage and belief.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, the universe itself might not actually have some grand intrinsic point, but within the vastness of a multiverse, we humans act as the universe's way of understanding itself. Whether you're a physicist writing string theory equations or an artist expressing a creative urge, you are bringing your own unique significance to a completely indifferent cosmos. We create the meaning.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final question to chew on. The universe is vast, mysterious, and totally wild, but the pen to write your own highlight reel is entirely in your hands. So, how are you going to spend your brief blink of time? Don't let comfort keep you from connecting with others, taking huge risks, and marveling at the incredible reality we get to be a part of. Thanks so much for exploring with me today.